This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and this is my weekly review of the points I find interesting in Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer newsletter. So I will jump right into it. There's a lot of news this week as we continue the fallout of the sale and the fallout of WrestleMania, plus all this AEW news going on. But to start off with the sad news about Bushwacker Butch passing away on April the 2nd. He was also known as Crazy Nick Carter, wrestled as the Sheep Herders, Bushwhackers, Kiwis, Los Pastors, and Los Sacramenticas. He was in the WWE Hall of Fame and had a near-fatal staph infection in 2001 and another near-fatal infection in 2008. So his health issues have been going on for a while. He couldn't eat on his own for a period of time and had to have his ankles fused at one point. They were inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2015. And Miller had been living in New Zealand since about 2002. However, at the time of his passing, he was in the LA area for WrestleMania autograph conventions. Regarding this MLW frivolous lawsuit against WWE, where they're basically blaming WWE for their lack of success, seemingly. They already had it thrown out of court once, and they were given 21 days to file an appeal. They have filed an appeal, and WWE filed a motion April 7th to dismiss the appeal, basically saying the lawsuit is baseless, saying that MLW does have a TV show on Reels right now, and AEW has expanded. Women of Wrestling have apparently an $8 million deal with CBS. Impact Wrestling has a TV deal. New Japan has a TV deal. So to say that WWE is causing all these smaller companies to not be able to get TV deals is basically baseless. I guess MLW is also claiming that WWE has blacklisted wrestlers who have previously worked for MLW. But WWE is noting that Matt Riddle, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Karrion Kross all worked for MLW before getting signed with WWE. And I'm sure the Von Erichs, who MLW is having sit at home right now while under contract and aren't using, the WWE would probably sign if MLW would let them out of their contracts. I'm positive. And the Von Erichs, by the way, have said they are going to be looking to go potentially elsewhere once their contracts expire, which I think is in June. So I would expect their lawsuit to get dismissed again. Apparently, for SmackDown in Portland and Raw in Seattle, Vince McMahon wasn't at the show, but he was part of the creative meetings remotely. Regarding Backlash in Puerto Rico, it looks like Lesnar against Rhodes is going to be in the main event, and Bad Bunny and Rey Mysterio Jr. are going to wrestle Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio. That one should get a lot of interest in Puerto Rico. Apparently for SummerSlam at Ford Field in Detroit, they have already sold about 25,000 tickets. Logan Paul officially re-signed with WWE, and Meltzer brings up that they had reported it was a multi-year deal last year, but for some reason this year they're saying he had to re-sign because his deal was expiring, so that's a little unusual. Apparently, reports that WWE has a hiring freeze are false, and they're still hiring significant performers. Drew McIntyre was off at last week's SmackDown due to an undisclosed health issue. WWE sent an apology out for using Auschwitz footage related to Dominic Mysterio's entrance at WrestleMania, claiming they had no knowledge that they had used the footage. What Auschwitz has to do with Dominic Mysterio is beyond me. A spoiled rich kid. Let's play Auschwitz footage on his entrance. I don't get it. Dynamite did a 0.28 rating last week or this week from Milwaukee, 3,200 in attendance. NXT did a 0.13 rating and had its lowest viewership in the entire show's history on USA. Raw from Seattle had 9,500 in attendance, 0.59 rating. Dusty Rhodes A&E Biography, 0.14. Rivals, Undertaker versus Randy Orton, 0.14. Rampage, 0.17, taped from Kingston, Rhode Island, before 2,800 paid. SmackDown, 0.69, before 9,100 in Portland. In AEW news, it looks like CM Punk is going to return to the company for their June 21st Chicago show, which is the show before Forbidden Door in Toronto, which is apparently sold out. There's talks of an AEW Saturday show where custom talent might be used, and Meltzer brings up that due to CM Punk's heat, perhaps they might split the crews where the Saturday show might have different talent than some of the other shows, so the wrestlers that have heat wouldn't necessarily be booked on the same shows. Apparently, now that Ring of Honor and Rampage are also taped on most Dynamite tapings, the shows end up being at least 4.5 hours long. So with that length of time, it'd be impossible to tape another show. It wouldn't be impossible, but the shows would be, they're already too long to be even longer with that. So likely the Saturday shows will be taped live as a separate taping. Apparently, about 45,000 people have signed up for a pre-sale code for the AEW show at Wembley Stadium. So I think that show is going to be a success. Their first time in the UK. They have good UK TV, and people will travel from all over the UK to go to it. Not to mention London's a massive city. Darby Allin apparently got hit by a car while skateboarding in New York City on the 6th of April, but still wrestled that week on Dynamite. FTR signed a new 4-year deal. Brian Cage just signed a 5-year deal, so he's not going anywhere for a long time. In other wrestling news, Billy Graham is now down 75 pounds since he's been admitted to the hospital 3 months ago. He does have a GoFundMe going. Sabu collapsed at an autograph table in Indianapolis last weekend and was rushed to the hospital for a serious medical condition that was not disclosed. Conan has said he's tried to book Chris Jericho for AAA in Mexico multiple times. He actually says dozens of times, but it doesn't appear Chris Jericho wants to do it. Dark Side of the Ring, Season 4, debuts on Fight May 30th, and they're going to have 10 weeks worth of shows. Tammy Sitch and Chris Candido is one episode, Magnum TA. Duel of the Butcher that I'm part of, that episode. Bam Bam Bigelow. The Sandman is going to be in an episode. Mike Awesome is going to have one. Marty Jannetty. Chris Adams as well. Apparently the Jannetty and Chris Adams episodes are completely nuts, which doesn't surprise me. UFC held its first show in Miami since April 2003. It was a huge success, over 19,000 fans with a nearly $12 million gate. George Masvidal retired after his loss. On that show, Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz are going to have a boxing match on August the 5th at the American Airlines Arena in Dallas, Texas. Jake Paul is also working on his MMA training and says he might have an MMA fight towards the end of this year, early next year. Dana White told the Associated Press that he's sure better deals are going to be made with the arenas now that UFC is combined with WWE, but he doesn't expect there to be much talent crossover. I don't think there's going to be many WWE wrestlers fighting for UFC, but I am positive that you're going to see more of at least the famous UFC fighters go into WWE after they retire. For instance, George Masvidal would be a great candidate. He's great on the mic, and he has more star power than most WWE wrestlers. If I owned both companies, I would be suggesting to him to go over to WWE. Time will tell. It's the deal's still it's still going to be, I think, 4 or 5 months. They're saying before everything's finalized, so we'll see more after that. Jeff Miller, the Metal Maniac, check it in from Hawaii. There's a couple interviews with him on this channel. Someone talking about I forget which show which we were talking about, what that comment has to do with. Any opinion on Bron Breakker? It appears he's being punished for his dad's WrestleCon alleged incident, which I guess we haven't seen any footage or anything from it. It's one person's word against another, but he was supposed to debut apparently on the Raw after WrestleMania, and it's been delayed. Bron Breakker has the best upside of any NXT talent. I think he's a future star for sure. John, I'm doing great. Looking forward to the May 6th Great North Wrestling event in Ottawa. Tickets are on sale now at ticketweb.ca, or get them at the door. I wish everyone, including the Metal Maniac, fantastic weekend.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news.